The backhoe's teeth tore into the earth, spitting out chunks of my mother's grave like it was nothing more than a patch of dirt. I stood frozen, my scream caught in my throat, as the yellow machine carved through the wildflowers she'd loved, the ones I'd planted to honor her. The HOA president, Karen Whitaker, watched from her golf cart, her smug smile gleaming under the noon sun. She'd called it a community improvement project, a playground for the kids of Willow Creek. But this wasn't just land. It was sacred, and the fight that followed would unravel secrets that shook our sleepy suburb to its core. I moved back to Willow Creek after Mom died last year, her cancer stealing her breath too soon. The house she left me sat on the edge of the neighborhood, next to a small, unmarked cemetery where she'd chosen to rest. It wasn't official, just a quiet plot her family had owned for generations, but it was hers. The HOA, led by Karen, had been eyeing that land since I arrived, their letters piling up on my doorstep polite at first, then threatening. Eminent domain, they claimed, though I knew it was a lie. That morning, I'd woken to the roar of machinery. By the time I stumbled outside, the bulldozer was already at work. Karen waved off my protests, her voice dripping with fake sympathy. "Oh, honey, it's for the kids. You can't fight progress." Her cronies on the HOA board, Tom, the retired banker, and Linda, the yoga mom with a vendetta against unkempt, yards knotted like puppets. I begged them to stop, my hands shaking as I dialed the sheriff. He arrived too late. Mom's headstone was already a pile of rubble. The sheriff, a tired man named Roy, shrugged. "HOA's got permits, Miss Harper. Take it up with the county." Karen smirked, tossing her blonde bob as she handed me a crisp document. It was a forged deed claiming the cemetery was public land. I knew it was fake Mom's was ironclad, but proving it would take time, money, and a lawyer I couldn't afford. That night, I sat in her empty house, staring at the wildflower seeds I'd saved, rage burning through my grief. I wasn't alone in hating Karen. Willow Creek was a powder keg of resentment. She'd fined Mrs. Alvarez for her son's basketball hoop, forcing the Winds to repaint their house because beige wasn't vibrant enough, and bullied old Mr. Carter into selling his lot for a dog park nobody used. But nobody fought her. They were too scared of her connections. Karen's husband was a county commissioner, and her brother-in-law ran the local title company. She was untouchable, so she thought. I started digging, not with a shovel, but with questions. I knocked on doors, asking neighbors about the cemetery. Most slammed them in my face, but Mrs. Alvarez lingered. "Karen's been after that land for years," she whispered. "Said it'd make her look good for the state board." I pressed her for more, and she mentioned a rumor. Karen had bribed someone at the county to falsify records. It was a lead, thin but sharp. At the library, I pored over public records, my eyes bleary from microfilm. I found it buried in a 1998 survey, clear boundary marking the cemetery as private property. The HOA's deed didn't match. I photocopied everything, my heart racing. Next, I called a friend from college, Nate, now a junior lawyer in D.C. He warned me, "This is big, Ellie. If the HOA faked a deed, it's fraud. If they destroyed a grave, it's desecration. You need hard proof." I staked out Karen's house, watching her host wine nights for the board. One evening, I saw Tom slip her an envelope. I followed him to a bar, where he drank too much and rambled to the bartender about Karen's side hustle. I recorded on my phone, his slurred words hinting at kickbacks and forged signatures. It wasn't enough, but it was a crack in their armor. Then came the HOA meeting. I showed up uninvited, clutching my evidence. The room was packed with neighbors, their faces a mix of boredom and fear. Karen stood at the podium, her pearls glinting. "We're transforming Willow Creek," she cooed, unveiling a playground blueprint. I stood, my voice shaking but clear. "You destroyed my mother's grave for this. You forged a deed. I have proof. The room erupted. Karen's smile faltered, but she recovered fast. This is slander, Ms. Harper. You're grieving, we understand, but don't spread lies. Tom and Linda backed her, their voices shrill. But Mrs. Alvarez stood, then Mr. Carter, their anger breaking free. She's been bullying us for years. Mr. Carter shouted. The meeting dissolved into chaos, and Karen stormed out, her face red. That night, someone slashed my tires. I knew it was her, but I didn't stop. Nate connected me with a federal prosecutor who specialized in land fraud. I sent her everything records, Tom's recording, even photos of the bulldozed grave. She called back a week later. This is bigger than you think. The HOA's tied to a county-wide scheme. We're opening an investigation. The feds move fast. They raided Karen's house, seizing computers and files. The news broke the next day. Willow Creek HOA board faces federal charges for fraud, grave desecration. Karen, Tom, and Linda were arrested, their mugshots plastered online. Neighbors cheered, but I felt hollow. The playground project was scrapped. The land left a scarred mess. I replanted wildflowers, but Mom's headstone was gone forever. At the trial, Karen took the stand, her charm replaced by desperation. She blamed Tom, claiming he'd forged the deed without her knowledge. Tom pointed at Linda, who sobbed and said Karen had threatened her. The prosecutor tore through their lies, presenting emails where they planned the scheme, laughing about that crazy Harper girl. The jury didn't blink, guilty on all counts. Sentencing was brutal. Karen got 7 years for fraud and desecration, Tom and Linda 5 each. The judge called their actions a betrayal of community trust. Neighbors packed the courtroom, some crying, others stone-faced. I sat in the back, my hands clenched. Justice felt cold, like rain on a grave. I visited the cemetery after, the wildflowers struggling in the churned earth. I'd won, but at what cost? Mom's resting place was violated, her memory dragged through a circus. The HOA was dissolved, but Willow Creek was fractured. Neighbors who'd stayed silent now avoided my eyes, ashamed. I sold Mom's house. I couldn't stay. As I drove away, the radio buzzed with news of another HOA scandal in a nearby town. I turned it off, my chest tight. Karen was gone, but her kind wasn't. They'd always find another patch of earth to claim, another heart to break. And me? I'd carry Mom's wildflowers in my soul, their roots deeper than any bulldozer could reach.